From hell to Nibbāna. When speaking about the Buddhist cosmology, many people easily imagine it as a detailed map of heavens, humans, spirits, and hells, as if the Buddha were an ancient astronomer or a metaphysical philosopher. But if we go deep into the teachings in the Pali Suttas, we will see that his purpose was not to draw a picture to satisfy intellectual curiosity, but to point out one thing. All existence within the cycle of birth and death, from the darkest hells to the most exalted celestial realms, arises due to karma, and all of it falls within the scope of suffering, its origin, its cessation, and the path. Cosmology is simply a way the Buddha widened being's vision so that we see samsara is not just this one life, but countless lives and countless realms. This is very different from the Brahmanical traditions of the time. Ancient Indian ascetics often debated the substance of the universe, about Brahman, about creation, or the eternity of the soul. The Buddha, when asked about the origin of the universe, often remained silent or said that such knowledge is not necessary for liberation. In the Malunkyaputta Sutta, he gives the example of a man struck by a poison arrow. Instead of removing the arrow, he keeps asking, "Who shot it? From where? With what bow?" By the time the answers are found, he is already dead. So too with samsara. Knowing the first beginning of the cosmos does not lead to liberation. Only knowing suffering and the path to end suffering is the heart of the matter. However, the Buddha did not completely dismiss the question, what realms exist in the cosmos? In many discourses, when teaching the bhikkhus, he was very specific. He repeatedly spoke about the unfortunate destinies such as hell, hungry ghosts, and animals, about fortunate realms such as humans and devas, about the meditative heavens corresponding to the first, second, third, and fourth jhanas, and even the formless realms where only mind remains. He stated that there are 31 planes of existence within this round of birth and death. Thus, cosmology is not peripheral. It is an important part of showing that beings take birth in a realm corresponding to their karma. Why is this important? Because without seeing the countless realms, people easily mistake death for the end. Or, conversely, they imagine a single eternal heaven. The Buddha rejected both extremes. He taught that life does not end with death, but continues unceasingly. Birth and death roll on through innumerable realms like a wheel that never stops. Yet at the same time, there is no permanent, unchanging soul, only a stream of mind and karmic results in continuity. In the Sayutta Nikaya, the Buddha once gave an example. A seed sown in the earth, meeting good soil, rain, and light, will sprout. In the same way, a wholesome or unwholesome action, a mind of greed, hatred, delusion, or of loving kindness and wisdom, when conditions are sufficient, will ripen into a corresponding mode of existence. Those who kill and are cruel are dragged to hell. The greedy and stingy are reborn as hungry ghosts. The foolish and deluded become animals. Those filled with anger and arrogance are born among asuras. Those who keep the 5 precepts and do good are born as humans. Those who give, keep precepts, and cultivate loving kindness are reborn in heavenly realms. And those who practice meditation and attain the jhanas are reborn in the rupa or arupa realms. This cosmology is not meant to frighten or lull us, but to awaken us. All is impermanent. Even in heavenly realms enjoyed for millions of years, in the end there is death, and one falls when merit is exhausted. The Buddha often reminded the devas, "You too will die, as flowers wither." Thus, understanding cosmology is to see the precariousness of existence and to urge practitioners to seek the way out of the cycle. There is a striking image in the suttas. The Buddha said that, if the dirt on a fingernail is compared to the earth of the whole world, the number of beings who escape hell, hungry ghost, and animal realms to gain a human birth is as rare as the dust on a fingernail, while those who fall into the bad destinies are as many as the earth itself. Hearing this, the monks were shaken and grew more diligent. This is how he used cosmology to encourage, not to sow useless fear. Moreover, cosmology helps explain phenomena in life. Some are born intelligent, wealthy, and powerful, others poor, sickly, and short-lived. Looking at only one lifetime, it is hard to explain. But with Buddhist cosmology, we see all as the result of karma over many lives. Nothing is random, nor is there a deity arbitrarily granting blessings or casting curses. The Buddha's disciples often used cosmology to teach. Sariputta once said, "Brothers, do not despise small evils, for drops of water fill the jar. When the jar is full, it is enough to drown us in a bad destiny." Moggallana, through his psychic powers, once went down to the hells and saw parents from past lives suffering, so he advised the disciples to make offerings and dedicate merit to rescue them. Such stories spread through the saga, helping young practitioners feel the reality of countless realms. Therefore, at the outset of exploring Buddhist cosmology, we must grasp 2 points. The Buddha did not speak of the universe as a scientist, but as a master who points out the road, where we come from and where we will go. The practical meaning is to awaken us, not to cling to any realm, not to take karma lightly, but to diligently practice to transcend all of it. If we do not see the whole circle of the 31 realms, we are easily trapped, either treating this life as everything or daydreaming about an eternal paradise. But once we see it all, we understand. From hell to the formless heavens, everything remains bound by karma. Only by stepping outside that circle and realizing Nibbāna is their true safety. This opening passage is like an invitation. Let us look more widely at life, beyond this small identity, to see where we stand in the vast cycle of birth and death. From there, every step of practice, every precept, every minute of meditation becomes an effort to break free, not merely a custom or habit. In the teachings, the Buddha often used the concept of the 3 realms to denote the entirety of conditioned existence: the sense realm, kamadhatu, the form realm, rupadhatu, and the formless realm, arapadhatu. These 3 are the common dwelling of all beings, from the lowliest to the most sublime, yet all remain bound within the round of birth and death. If we liken Sasra to a many-storied palace, then the sense realm is the ground floor, the form realm the higher stories, and the formless realm the highest levels where only the most subtle mind remains. But wherever one abides, it is not yet released from the prison of birth and death, for only Nibbāna is the door of liberation. The sense realm is the realm of desire, where beings are strongly driven by craving for the 5 sense pleasures: sights, sounds, smells, tastes, and tactile contact. It includes the 4 unfortunate destinies: hell, hungry ghosts, animals, and asuras, the human world, and the 6 sensual heavens. The common feature is that beings still seek sensory pleasure. People eat fine foods, dress beautifully, and enjoy delights. Devas of the sense realm do so as well, only more subtly and for longer spans. Conversely, beings suffering in hell and as hungry ghosts are also obsessed with desire but cannot satisfy it, and thus are all the more tormented. In this way, the sense realm ranges from utmost misery to relative happiness, yet all share the same root: a mind still governed by desire. The form realm is different. It is the domain for practitioners who cultivate meditation, transcend the 5 sensual desires, and attain the jhanas from the 1st to the 4th. Then their body and mind become purified, no longer driven by coarse sensory cravings. When they lay down this body, they are reborn in the 16 heavens of the form realm. There, beings still have a body, but it is a subtle, radiant form sustained by the bliss of meditative absorption, not by material food. The hallmark of the form realm is serenity, purity, and little agitation, quite unlike the turbulence and conflict of the sense realm. Higher still is the formless realm, where beings no longer possess material bodies but exist only as a subtle stream of consciousness. This is the domain of practitioners who have attained the 4 immaterial absorptions: the sphere of infinite space, the sphere of infinite consciousness, the sphere of nothingness, and the sphere of neither perception nor non-perception. In these heavenly planes, lifespans stretch from tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of gradients. Yet even so long a duration does not free those beings from the round of birth and death. When the power of concentration fades while residual karma remains, they fall to lower realms. When speaking of the 3 realms, the commentaries often stress that this is not merely abstract theory, but also a mirror of the inner life. When our minds are dominated by sensual desire, even in this very life we are living in the sense realm. When the mind is steady in meditation, removed from sensual craving, we live with the qualities of the form realm. And when the mind becomes vast and boundless, relinquishing all objects, we live with the qualities of the formless realm. Thus, the three realms are not only a metaphysical system, but also a psychological map, pointing to three fundamental states of mind. In the Abhidhamma, the three realms are analyzed in detail into 31 planes, 11 in the sense realm, hells, hungry ghosts, animals, asuras, humans, and the 6 sensual heavens, 16 in the form realm, corresponding to the 4 Jannas with multiple heavens in each, and 4 in the formless realm, corresponding to the 4 immaterial attainments. Each plane has its own characteristics: the being's appearance, the length of lifespan, the mode of sustenance, the degree of happiness or suffering, and especially the karmic causes that lead to rebirth there. This reveals an important principle. The karma of a given mental quality yields rebirth in the corresponding realm. A mind still full of greed, hatred, and delusion cannot be reborn in the meditative realms. A mind disciplined in concentration can carry one to higher planes. And when the mind realizes liberating wisdom, it transcends all 31 planes. One must note the Buddha's constant emphasis that whether high or low, all these are still within samsara, the cycle of wandering on. The hells are exceedingly painful, but even the formless heavens, with lifespans of myriad eons, must eventually end. All are impermanent and lack any secure foundation. The Devadutta Sutta recounts that even resplendent devas, when their merit is exhausted, see their bodies grow dim, their radiance fade, and they must leave that realm to be reborn elsewhere, sometimes plunging straight into hell if unwholesome karma remains. This sight deeply moved the monks, for it showed that there is no absolutely safe place within the three realms. Therefore, understanding the three realms and the 31 planes is not to indulge the imagination, but to recognize the impermanence of every domain. It is like a map. Whether you are in a dark dungeon, a bustling city, or the topmost floor of a tower, you are still inside the tower. Only by stepping outside are you truly free. In Buddhism, the door to the outside is Nibbāna. When we listen to teachings on the three realms, we should ask ourselves, to which realm does my mind presently belong? If it is constantly swept away by craving and anger, then even while alive we are sowing the causes for hell, hungry ghost, and animal destinies. If the mind maintains mindfulness, remains calm, and is little agitated, we are living with the qualities of the form realm. If the mind is expansive, clings little, and knows how to let go, we are tasting a faint flavor of the formless realm. Yet all of these, however sublime, are still not ultimate liberation. A broad view of the three realms is thus a wake-up call, reminding us not to cling anywhere, for all are only temporary stopovers in an endless journey. We have wandered through the three realms countless times, rising and falling, changing identities. The Buddha said that the tears beings have shed in samsara exceed the waters of the 4 great oceans. Only by seeing this truth do we give rise to the firm resolve to find the way out of that ceaseless wheel. Hell is regarded as the most painful realm in the whole cosmology. There is no light there, no rest, no joy of any kind, only suffering from moment to moment. Hearing the word hell, many think it is merely a metaphor or a legend meant to frighten. But according to the Pali teachings, hell is a real realm operating under the law of karmic cause and effect, not created by any deity to punish. There is no judge weighing sins. Rather, unwholesome karma itself gives rise to a corresponding environment in which beings must undergo the result. Hell is described in great detail in the Abhidhamma and the commentaries. It is divided into 8 great hot hells, 8 cold hells, and countless subsidiary hells. In the great hot hells, beings are burned by fire, their bodies like glowing coal, ceaselessly cut apart and crushed. In Sanjiva, the reviving hell, the condemned die and revive again and again, disintegrating only to reappear intact for further torment. In Kalasutta, the black thread hell, bodies are bound with red-hot iron cords and sliced into pieces. In Sada, the crushing hell, 2 colossal mountains press together and grind bones to dust. In Roruva and Maharuva, the screaming and great screaming hells, anguished cries shake the skies as bodies burn. In Tapana and Patapana, the heating and great heating hells. The flames never go out, incinerating the condemned. And in Avicii, the hell of interminable suffering, there is no break at all. Once fallen there, beings endure for countless great eons without a moment's respite. In the 8 cold hells, the torment is the opposite, not by fire, but by ice. The cold pierces to the marrow, splitting the body so that blood and pus ooze out. In some levels, beings shiver so violently their teeth rattle into audible clacking, hence the name Hanabiru, or Hanahana, like chattering. In deeper levels, the cold freezes them rigid and motionless, as if buried alive in ice. Besides the great hells, there are innumerable minor hells scattered everywhere. Forests of swords, groves of iron thorns, rivers of hot ashes, mountains that crush, lakes of filth, and pools of congealed blood. According to the particular unwholesome deeds committed, beings fall into various subsidiary hells and undergo punishments corresponding to the evil they have done. The appearance of hell beings is described as gigantic, blackened, their bodies continually bleeding and glowing red like iron in a furnace. Every step brings fresh agony. In Avicii, there is not a single pause, not a single easy breath. The realm resounds with dreadful wails, yet there is no one who can rescue them. There is no food in the ordinary sense in hell. For beings there subsist on the burning of their own karma. Suffering itself is the food that sustains their existence. Lifespans in hell are so long as to be beyond human imagination. The commentaries, such as the Visuddhimagga, say that a day and night in Sanjiva equals 9 million human years, and the deeper the hell, the longer the lifespan. In Avicii, existence can continue for tens or even hundreds of cosmic eons. This means that one who has committed grave offenses can be confined in hell for inconceivably vast spans of time, with no chance of release until the evil karma is entirely exhausted. The karmic causes that lead to hell are typically extremely heinous acts. The Buddha clearly identified 5 Anantarya offenses that certainly lead to Avicii: killing one's father, killing one's mother, killing an arahant, causing the Buddha to bleed, and creating a schism in the Sangha. Beyond these, rampant killing, cruelty, waging wars of aggression, reviling the triple gem, or nurturing intense hatred are also causes for descent to hell. The Buddha taught that a person burdened with heavy evil karma is like a stone thrown into water. It sinks immediately, with no chance to float. In many discourses, the imagery of hell is vivid, serving as a warning. In the Devadatta Sutta, the Buddha says that after death the wicked are brought before King Yama. There they behold the 4 messengers of Yama: old age, sickness, death, and suffering, to understand that these are the consequences of heedlessness. Then the wardens of hell subject them to punishments. Tongues are pulled out and cut, limbs are severed, bodies are thrown into cauldrons of boiling oil, burned in blazing fires, and tortured in countless ways. These depictions are not meant to instill blind terror, but to underscore the infallibility of karmic law. Unwholesome actions inevitably ripen into unwholesome results. Venerable Moggallana, the foremost disciple in psychic powers, once witnessed scenes of hell. In accounts that were recorded, he related seeing countless beings burned in fire, plowed up by red-hot iron plows, their eyes gouged out with iron balls, and torn apart by iron hounds. He brought these images back and described them to the assembly, causing many to be shaken and to give rise to the resolve to keep precepts and do good. In the Majjhima Nikaya, there are also passages where the Buddha emphasizes that an evildoer, upon death, falls into hell, suffers fierce torment, and finds it hard to escape. When hearing such descriptions, we should not understand them in the simplistic sense of a prison with wardens. In truth, hell is the collective manifestation of unwholesome karma. Just as a malicious person who lives in anger is already living in a kind of hell in this very life. Mind always blazing like fire, without peace. After death, that karmic stream continues and gives rise to a corresponding realm. This means hell is both a place in the cosmos and a psychological state that anyone who has planted its causes must undergo. In the preaching tradition, teachers often remind us that hearing about hell is not to foster despair, but to arouse moral dread and diligence in practice. If we keep precepts, do good, and cultivate a mind of compassion, we have already closed the gate of hell, not allowing it to open in our lives. The Buddha once said that avoiding evil, doing good, and purifying the mind is the teaching of the Buddhas. That instruction is the key for us to escape the most painful realm in the round of birth and death. Hell is thus a stern reminder of the power of karma. It shows us the utmost limit of suffering if we abandon ourselves to greed, hatred, and delusion. And when we understand this, we will clearly see the value of every small wholesome deed and every simple precept, for all are seeds that lead us out of darkness toward the light of liberation. Among the painful realms the Buddha often mentioned, there is a class of beings especially frightening, yet also deeply pitiable: hungry ghosts. If hell is a place of extreme torment where fire or ice burns incessantly, then the realm of hungry ghosts is one of endless hunger and thirst, of cravings that are never satisfied. Reading the Pali Suttas and the commentaries, we find the image of hungry ghosts depicted vividly, both as a warning and as a mirror reflecting the bottomless greed of humans. Hungry ghost, from the Sanskrit pita, means one who has gone on. In the Buddhist tradition, it refers to the realm of the famished dead. Their appearance is wretched. Their bodies are tall but emaciated, with swollen bellies like drums and necks as thin as needles, so that even if they wish to swallow, they cannot swallow anything. Some are perpetually aflame, with fire in the mouth and in the belly. Others dwell in darkness and only wander at night. Some eat only filth, blood, and pus, or ashes. There are also deformed varieties with blazing red eyes, singed hair, nails long like talons, and bodies scorched by wind and fire all day. Each type reflects a different pattern of karma, all tied to greed, selfishness, and stinginess in past lives. The lifespans of hungry ghosts are very long, sometimes thousands of years, but not lifespans of happiness. It is a prolonged existence in misery. It is said that even standing at the edge of a great lake, a hungry ghost cannot drink a drop, for the water immediately turns to blood or hot ash. Faced with a sumptuous feast, they see only refuse and flee. Hence this realm is called the realm of hunger. Even in this present life, when we see people with insatiable cravings, the more they consume, the more they feel lacking. The more they enjoy, the more they feel unsatisfied. That too is a faint taste of the hungry ghost state manifest here and now. In the Pedavathu of the Minor Collection, there are many stories of hungry ghosts appearing to beg for food, and then receiving offerings from monks or lay followers, thereby lessening their suffering. One story tells of a woman in the Buddha's time who, being miserly and unwilling to give even a sip of porridge, was reborn as a hungry ghost after death, with a gaunt body, a swollen belly, and a narrow neck. For many generations, she continued to wander, and only when her descendants made food offerings and dedicated merit to her did her suffering ease. Such stories both admonish the living and express compassion, reminding us to care not only for the living but also for beings suffering in other realms. Hungry ghosts are divided into many types. According to the commentaries, there are as many as 36 groups. Some feed on blood and pus and linger where there are wounds. Some feed on smoke and fire and appear at forest burnings and conflagrations. Some dwell in rivers, eating only dead fish and refuse. Some haunt cemeteries, feeding on corpses. Some possess a small measure of psychic power and can cause trouble for humans, inducing illness or madness. Yet all share a common trait, an unending thirst and hunger that nothing can satisfy. What causes rebirth in this realm? The Buddha taught that it arises from a mind of greed and stinginess, unwilling to give or share. Those who keep everything for themselves, feel no compassion for others' suffering, or even feel glad at others' loss, plant the seeds of the hungry ghost destiny. Moreover, those who often use harsh speech, insulting, reviling, sowing resentment, may also fall into this class after death. The scriptures repeatedly remind us that a person who does not give is like a sealed lake with no outflow. Its water stagnates and becomes polluted. By contrast, one who gives is like a flowing stream whose waters never run dry. In one passage, the Buddha says to the monks, "The miserly and stingy, when they die, are reborn as hungry ghosts with great bellies and narrow necks, tormented by endless hunger and thirst. Those who give and share, when they die, are reborn among the devas and enjoy boundless bliss." This single statement is enough to show the difference between two paths, one of darkness and one of light. Hungry ghosts do not truly have food. They subsist on suffering, yet through the compassion of the living they may enjoy a small, temporary relief. In the Buddhist tradition, the ritual of offering food to wandering spirits arises from this spirit. Food, drink, and recitations are offered to the famished departed, and merit is dedicated so that their suffering is lightened. Though this does not bring complete liberation to hungry ghosts, it is supportive, and it helps the practitioner cultivate loving-kindness and relinquish stinginess. It is noteworthy that the image of hungry ghosts does not only concern the afterlife, but also reflects our present existence. When someone lives among humans with a bottomless greed, always feeling deprived and craving more, that is precisely the shadow of the hungry ghost in the heart. At times we see people with mountains of gold who are still dissatisfied, or those dining on delicacies who still complain the food is tasteless. That is the hungry ghost appearing in the midst of this very life. Thus, cosmology does not only describe an otherworldly realm, but also points to the truth within daily life. Hell, hungry ghosts, and animals are not far away. They are present in our own mental states. When we hear of hungry ghosts, rather than feeling only fear, we should allow compassion to arise. Those beings were once our parents, siblings, and friends over many lifetimes. They are suffering because of deep habits of stinginess and greed that they have not learned to release. When we do good and dedicate the merit, not only do we gain blessings ourselves, we can also help ease their suffering. This is precisely the spirit of the four immeasurables that the Buddha taught. Loving-kindness, compassion, empathetic joy, and equanimity are to be extended not only to the living but also to unseen realms. The image of hungry ghosts reminds us that greed is a bottomless pit. No matter how much one has, if the mind does not know contentment, one remains hungry like a hungry ghost. Conversely, if one knows how to give and share, then even with little one can taste the joy of sufficiency. There are poor people who are happy because they share, and wealthy people who suffer because of boundless craving. That is the very boundary between human and hungry ghost. Therefore, whenever we do merit and give, do not think of it as a mere ritual. We are sowing the seeds that keep us from falling into the realm of hunger. Whenever we keep a mind free of stinginess and are ready to help others, we are building a bright future for ourselves. Remember the Buddha's words. The tears of beings that have flowed through Sasra are more than the waters of the four great oceans. Among them, the tears of hungry ghosts are the saltiest, for their hunger and thirst never end. Seeing this, we truly give rise to the resolve to cultivate, to transform greed, so that we never have to wander parched in the realm of hungry ghosts. Among the three evil destinies, after hell and hungry ghosts comes the animal realm, where countless beings live steeped in ignorance, lacking wisdom, driven by instinct, and often subject to the strong preying upon the weak. If hell is a place of burning and hungry ghosts a realm of thirst, then animals are the manifestation of delusion and darkness. This realm is not unfamiliar to us because it is all around. Tiny insects at the foot of a tree, flocks of birds in the sky, fish swimming in rivers, predators stalking prey in deep forests. All are beings bearing the karma of animals, revolving in the cycle of birth and death. In the Pali texts, the animal realm is called Tirakaneoni, literally, those who go horizontally, because most beings there stoop close to the ground and cannot stand upright like humans. Their outer forms are diverse. Some are tiny like microbes, ants, and mosquitoes. Some are huge like elephants, whales, and crocodiles. Some are dazzlingly beautiful like peacocks and pheasants. Some are fierce with fangs and claws like tigers, leopards, and lions. Though each species has a different form, they share a common trait. They live mostly by instinct, lack wisdom, struggle to discern right from wrong, and are bound by environment, weather, and hunting. Lifespans vary greatly. Some insects live only a few days, while others such as turtles and elephants live many years. Generally, animal life is short and constantly threatened by danger. A fish may die on a hook. A bird may be trapped. A deer may be taken by a tiger. The life of animals is a chain of flight, evasion, and struggle to survive. Their food is equally diverse. Some eat grass, seeds, and fruit. Some eat flesh and blood. Some even consume carrion. Because of dependence on food, animals often must fight. In the forest, hunting and fleeing are daily scenes. It mirrors the law of the strong dominating the weak, the big fish swallowing the small. To human eyes that seems normal. Under the light of the Dharma, it is the suffering of the animal realm. The Buddha taught that the cause for beings to fall into the animal realm is delusion. Those who live foolishly, unable to distinguish right from wrong, giving themselves over to instinct, committing many unwholesome acts without awareness, easily fall into animal birth after death. In addition, clinging to wrong views, superstition, and refusal to listen to right teaching are also causes leading to this realm. A scripture uses this image. The foolish are like oxen drawing a cart, heads bowed and backs bent, not knowing why they must do so. What is frightening in the animal realm is the difficulty of escape. In one discourse, the Buddha said it is as hard to escape an animal body as for a blind turtle to surface in the great ocean and find a piece of wood with a hole to slip through. Once fallen there, the chance of regaining human birth is exceedingly rare because animals seldom perform merit, cannot keep precepts, and do not practice, so wholesome karma is very hard to generate. Even so, some commentaries record cases in which certain animals, by hearing the Dharma or meeting a noble one, sowed seeds of liberation. There is a story of a dog that, having associated with monks, was reborn as a human after death. Verses in the suttas tell of elephants and horses that met the Buddha and were transformed, planting wholesome seeds for future lives. This shows that even in the animal realm, the door of liberation is not completely closed if there are sufficient auspicious conditions. Yet for the most part, animals still endure a life of ignorance and suffering. That life can be seen around us. Chickens confined in cages awaiting slaughter, fish crammed in market tubs, buffalo and oxen driven to plow the fields. These beings feel pain and suffering but have no power to resist and no voice. The Buddha reminded us that those who kill beings bring suffering upon themselves. Therefore, he taught practitioners to keep the precept of non-harming and to value the lives of all creatures. The animal realm is not only an external world, but also a mental state. When a person lives in ignorance, chasing food and sensual pleasures, unable to discern and avoid what is wrong, then in this very life, one is taken on the aspect of the animal. Some live like this their whole lives, never sowing a single seed of merit, never learning a single true word, and after death, they can scarcely avoid falling into the actual animal realm. The image of animals therefore reminds us not to let our lives pass in ignorance. Each day that we learn a little right teaching, keep a precept, or do a good deed, we are moving against the causes that lead down to animal birth. Whenever we listen carefully, reflect, and contemplate, we are cultivating wisdom and avoiding the path of delusion. In his teachings, the Buddha often emphasized three brief injunctions: do not commit evil, diligently do what is wholesome, keep the mind pure. These three concise lines are a protective fence that keeps us from the evil destinies, including the animal realm. If we do not kill and do not harm, we do not plant the causes to become the weak who are slaughtered. If we keep the mind free from delusion, we do not create the conditions to fall into a darkened species. When seeing an animal being killed, if compassion arises in our hearts, that is the first step out of ignorance. If we refrain from meat obtained through killing, if we lessen our enjoyment built upon the suffering of other beings, we are helping to transform our own karma. This is not only compassion for other beings, but also a way to protect ourselves from rebirth into that shadowed realm. Thus, the animal realm is an urgent reminder to live by wisdom. Do not let life pass in folly, because once fallen there, it is hard to escape for countless lifetimes. Looking at the animals around us, let us see our own reflection in them and vow to practice, to keep precepts, to nurture wisdom, so that we need never again be the ones who go bowed and horizontal in the night of birth and death. In Buddhist cosmology, there is a rather special realm that partakes of both fortune and suffering. It has blessings almost like the heavens, yet also the pains and anger of spirits. This is the realm of the asuras. Hearing the name, many people imagine the fierce deities in paintings, armed with sword and spear, faces grim, always poised for battle. In fact, According to the Pali Suttas and the commentaries, asuras are an intermediate class of beings standing between the gods and the spirits. They possess great merit, yet have not overcome anger and envy. For this reason, they are often described as perpetually dissatisfied, always battling, never truly at peace. Their origin is also interesting. The commentaries relate that long ago they dwelt in the tusita heaven, sharing blessings with the devas. Because of a quarrelsome and warlike disposition, they were defeated by Sakka and driven down to live at the foot of Mount Sumru in palaces beneath the sea. From then on they became a distinct species, both admiring and resenting the devas. In many discourses, the Buddha uses the wars between asuras and Sakka to illustrate anger. However great one's power and prestige, when dominated by anger one reaps only suffering. The asuras' appearance is described as imposing. Their bodies are tall and majestic, with radiant halos, sometimes indistinguishable from the devas, yet their faces are often fierce, eyes bulging, brows knotted, lacking the calm of true ease. They have cities and palaces, weapons, elephants and horses, and frequently wage battles against the devas of Tusita. In those battles, sometimes the asuras win and sometimes they lose, but the final outcome is always defeat, because anger blinds their wisdom and they cannot marshal their forces with balance. The lifespan of asuras is long, comparable to the Kata-Maharajika heaven, about 500 celestial years, corresponding to millions of human years. During that time they enjoy their merit, with ambrosial food, garments, and palaces. Yet all this enjoyment does not bring happiness, because their minds are chronically dissatisfied, always gazing up at higher heavens with envy. A commentary says, Asuric merit suffices to live like gods, but the Asuric mind makes them suffer like spirits. The karma leading to this realm is a mixture of wholesome and unwholesome. A person who gives and keeps precepts, yet nourishes anger, conceit, and jealousy, may be reborn among the asuras after death. Such a person does good but lacks humility, possesses merit but cannot rejoice in the success of others. In this life, we can glimpse the Asuric shadow wherever people are forever comparing, competing, and refusing to be outdone, having plenty yet feeling it is never enough. The scriptures contain many stories where the Buddha used the image of the asuras to admonish disciples. Once he told of a great battle between asuras and devas. At first the asuras prevailed and the devas fled. But Sakka stopped, recollected the precepts he had undertaken, and forbade his soldiers to kill the asuras. Precisely through precepts and kindness the devas regained their formation and won the final victory. Through this story, the Buddha stresses that true strength does not lie in weapons, but in mastery over anger. One who keeps precepts and does good, though weak, overcomes the strong who are evil. In another discourse, the Buddha teaches that those filled with anger may, upon death, fall among the asuras, constantly fighting and suffering. This sobered many monks, for they saw that not only hells and hungry ghosts are fearful. Even the asuras, though enjoying merit, are steeped in suffering. Merit without wisdom becomes the seed of pain. The asura realm offers a profound psychological lesson. Even in this very life, whenever our minds are often jealous, comparing, and quick to anger, we are living with the qualities of the asuras. We may be human, we may have wealth and merit, yet if anger rules us, joy is never complete. We feel perpetual dissatisfaction, we see life as unfair, and we regard others with envy. That is the asuric fire blazing in our hearts. To escape the asuric conditions, the Buddha teaches us to cultivate loving kindness, to rejoice in the good of others, to be humble, to forgive. When others surpass us, instead of jealousy, give rise to joy because they are planting seeds of merit. When others err, instead of anger, give rise to compassion, for they are making themselves suffer. Practicing in this way, we transform asuric karma in this very life and do not let it pull us into that uneasy realm after death. Looking around, we see that asuras are not unfamiliar. In society, there are those with power and wealth who constantly scheme and fight, never knowing enough. They live in palaces, but their minds dwell on battlefields. That is the asura manifest in our world. If we do not practice carefully, we too can become like that. Therefore, When studying cosmology and understanding the Asura realm, we do not simply learn of an exotic plane. We also see a lesson for ourselves. Extinguish anger, live humbly, and learn to rejoice. Otherwise, no matter how great our merit, we will be like the asuras, perpetually dissatisfied, perpetually suffering in our own hearts. Within the 31 planes, the human realm is uniquely significant. The Buddha repeatedly emphasized that human birth is rare and hard to obtain, yet it is the most favorable environment for progress and realization of liberation. Reflecting on the human state, we see both the fragility and brevity of life and its precious value, so that we do not waste it but cherish it for practice. The human realm, called Manasaloka in Pali, includes all humanity within the 6 courses of rebirth. The outer form of beings here is the human body we now bear, differing in height and strength, male and female. The human body is composed of the 5 aggregates of form, feeling, perception, formations, and consciousness. It seems ordinary at first glance, but compared with other realms, it has a special balance. It is not too subtle like that of the devas, not too grotesque like animals or hungry ghosts, and not horrifying like the beings of hell. The human body has just enough strength, just enough intelligence, and just enough limitation to contemplate impermanence, suffering, and non-self, and thereby arouse the aspiration for liberation. Human lifespans vary according to the age of the world. In the scriptures, the Buddha said that there were times when people lived to a 10-kappa lifespan, meaning many tens of thousands of years. In a degenerate period such as the present, the average lifespan is only around 70 or 80, at most 100 years. This very brevity makes the human body more precious, because it reminds us of impermanence and forbids heedlessness. 100 years, compared with the millions of years of the devas, is like the blink of an eye, yet within that blink one can determine the path to liberation or to downfall. Life in the human realm contains both suffering and joy. We may enjoy the 5 sensual pleasures of sights, sounds, smells, tastes, and tactile contact. We may have family and friendship, the joy of creativity, and social progress. At the same time, we must undergo birth, aging, illness, and death, separation from what we love, union with what we dislike, and the frustration of unfulfilled desires. This mixture makes the human world intermediate, with enough suffering to awaken us and enough happiness to support the mind. Precisely because it has both, humans have the motivation to practice. Human food consists of rice, vegetables, fruit, meat and fish, milk, and all that sustains the body. Compared with hungry ghosts who feed on blood and pus, and devas who partake of ambrosia, human food is in the middle. What is important is that humans know how to prepare food, to create, and to nourish life not only materially, but also spiritually. This distinguishes the human realm and also makes it the place where wholesome roots are easiest to plant. The karma that leads to rebirth as a human includes keeping the 5 precepts, practicing the 10 wholesome actions, giving, compassion, and so on, yet mixed with both wholesome and unwholesome. Such a person is not so evil as to fall into the 3 lower destinies, nor so purely virtuous and meditative as to be born among the devas. This mixture creates the special opportunity of human birth, while still leaving enough suffering to reveal imperfection and to arouse the aspiration to end samsara. In many discourses, the Buddha stressed how hard it is to obtain a human body. He gave a famous example. In the great ocean, there is a blind turtle that surfaces once every 100 years. On the ocean drifts a piece of wood with a small hole. The chance that the blind turtle will rise and put its head through the hole is greater than the chance that a being, after dying in the 3 evil destinies, will regain a human birth. Hearing this, the monks were shaken and became even more diligent. This reminds us that since we now possess a human body, we must not squander the opportunity, for once lost, it is exceedingly hard to regain. There is another interesting detail in the scriptures. The Buddha repeatedly emphasized that the human realm has the highest potential for realization. Although devas live long and enjoy great merit, their absorption in pleasure gives them little motivation to practice. Only when their merit is nearly exhausted and their bodies decline do they become fearful, but by then it is too late. Humans, seeing clearly aging, illness, and death, more readily grow disenchanted with sasara and seek liberation. Many arahants and bodhisattvas accomplish the path in the human realm and nowhere else. In the Anguttara Nikaya, the Buddha taught that 4 things are difficult. It is hard to obtain a human body, hard to encounter the Dhamma, hard to generate true faith, and hard to develop wisdom. When these 4 difficulties are all overcome, one can go to liberation. We are now human and hearing the Dhamma, so we have already passed the first 2. If we further give rise to faith and nourish wisdom, the path to freedom opens before our eyes. The human realm is also where karmic seeds are most consequential. A small wholesome act here can create great merit because humans can deliberately dedicate and vow. A harsh word or violent deed also creates heavy karma because it is committed with intention. To live as a human is to walk on thin ground where each step sets the direction of the next life. Looking around, we see some are born wealthy and powerful with long lives, while others are poor, short-lived, and chronically ill. All of this is the fruit of past karma. Some children are diligent and bright with deep memory, while others are slow with limited intellect. None of this is decreed by a god. It is the result of deeds and intentions over countless lives. For this reason, the human realm is both precious and fearsome. Precious because it is the rare environment for practice. Fearsome because if we are heedless and miss the chance, once we lose the human body, it is difficult to return. Seeing this, we give rise to energy. A day of keeping precepts is a day we secure ourselves against falling into the evil destinies. A day of good deeds is a day we add to our future merit. A day of meditation and mindfulness is a day we draw nearer to calm and wisdom. Therefore, while we are human, we must cherish it. Cherish it. As long as there is a breath left and a day to live, there remains an opportunity to transform karma and step out of the round of birth and death. As the Buddha said, human birth is as rare as the dust on a fingernail compared with the earth of the whole world. Understanding this, we will live more wakefully, not let time pass in vain, and use this fragile human body as a boat to cross the ocean of suffering. Among the 6 heavens of the sense realm, the lowest is the heaven of the 4 great kings. This heaven lies adjacent to the human world like a boundary between humans and gods. In many discourses, the Buddha mentions it as the dwelling place of the 4 heavenly kings. Each rules one direction, protects the world, oversees human good and evil, and serves as a guardian of the Dhamma. In other words, the 4 great kings are both close to humanity and protective, so their presence is significant in Buddhist cosmology. The appearance of the devas of the 4 great kings is described as tall and majestic. Their bodies are a yojana high, roughly 16 kilometers according to the commentaries. Their bodies radiate light. Their garments are splendid. Their halos shine brightly. Though not as subtle as those of higher heavens, they far surpass humans. Each king bears weapons and is attended by large retinues that include yakas, Naga kings, Gandhabas, and Kinnara. These are deities familiar from folk tradition but incorporated by the Buddha into cosmology in a systematic way. Lifespan in the heaven of the 4 great kings lasts 500 heavenly years, equivalent to about 9 million human years. This is vast compared with the brief human life, yet it is small beside the immense spans of the higher heavens. Living so long, the devas there have time to enjoy their merit and to practice, but they still do not escape impermanence. When merit is exhausted, they die and are reborn elsewhere. The food of the 4 great kings is subtle ambrosia, not coarse material food like that of humans. They feed on light and on the flavors of merit and do not labor with chewing and swallowing. Their bodies are therefore light and clear, with little illness and no suffering from hunger or thirst. Nevertheless, this enjoyment still belongs to the sense realm. They still seek sensual pleasures and remain attached to sounds, beauty, fragrance, and tactile delight. For that reason, this heaven, though happier than the human world, still lies within the round of birth and death. A distinctive feature of the 4 great kings is their protective function. According to the scriptures, the 4 heavenly kings divide the 4 quarters of the sky among themselves. In the east is Tara, guardian of the nation, who protects humans and benevolent spirits. In the south is Viraka, the king of growth, who oversees various classes of spirits. In the west is Verpka, the king of wide vision, who can behold all places with his great eye and supervise good and evil. In the north is Vairava, the much-hearing king, who constantly listens, protects the Buddha's teaching, and supports the Sangha. They watch over not only humans, but also other beings such as the Naga kings and the Yakas. For this reason, in many Buddhist temples we often see statues of the four heavenly kings standing at the main gate, as symbols of protecting the true Dharma and warding off evil. The karmic causes leading to rebirth in the realm of the four great kings are generosity, virtue, and good deeds, though the merit is not yet vast enough to be reborn in higher heavens. Such people may be those who protect others, act as guardians, and keep order, yet still retain subtle sensual desire. After death, they are reborn among the four great kings and enjoy merit for a long time. When their merit is exhausted, if they have not cultivated further, they will fall again to lower realms, sometimes returning as humans, sometimes descending into the three evil destinies. In many discourses, the Buddha mentioned the presence of the four great kings at important events. When he was born, the four kings came to support him. When he attained awakening, they too came to protect him. Throughout his teaching career, they frequently appeared to safeguard the Sangha from harassment by demons and hostile spirits. This shows that, in Buddhist cosmology, the four great kings are not merely symbols, but actual forces at work protecting the Dharma. However, the Buddha repeatedly reminded us that although the devas of the four great kings possess great power and long lifespans, they still remain within the round of birth and death, subject to aging, illness, and death. When their merit is spent, the radiance of their bodies fades, their appearance withers, and in the end they must leave their palaces and be reborn elsewhere. In the scriptures, this is called the signs of a deva's decline, a sight that terrifies all who witness it. It is a warning. Never assume that rebirth in heaven is eternal safety, for even the four great kings are only a temporary stop. In our present life, if we look into our hearts, we can glimpse the image of the four great kings in those moments when we give rise to the wish to protect, to support, and to help others. When we keep precepts and do good, we are planting the causes at least not to fall into the evil destinies and perhaps to be reborn in this lowest heaven. But if we do not cultivate further and do not transcend desire, that merit is enough only to bring us to a place of temporary ease. It cannot free us from the round of birth and death. Therefore, the heaven of the four great kings is both an encouragement and a warning. Encouragement, because it shows that even modest virtue can lift us above the human realm. Warning, because it reminds us that stopping there is not enough. Sasra remains. The Buddha wants us to see clearly that in whatever realm we dwell, even the heavens, unless we realize liberating wisdom, all is still impermanent and subject to rebirth. Looking at the statues of the four heavenly kings in a temple, we can give rise to the aspiration to become protectors ourselves, guarding the Dharma, upholding the good, and dispelling the harmful. At the same time, we must remember that the ultimate aim is not to be reborn in heaven, but to transcend all realms and attain Nibbāna. This balanced view helps us to value merit without clinging to its worldly results, using it instead as a means to go further on the path of liberation. Beyond the four great kings lies the heaven of the 33, also called Tvetisa, the realm of the 33 devas. It is one of the most frequently mentioned heavens in the scriptures because it is ruled by Sakka, king of the devas. Buddhist tradition often says that Sakka's palace stands on the summit of Mount Sineru, resplendent on all sides, from which he governs the heavenly hosts and often comes to hear the Buddha's teachings. The devas of Tvetisa are described as radiant and tall, their bodies 2 yojanas high, about 32 kilometers by the measures given in the commentaries. Their forms shine like jewels, their garments are splendid, and natural fragrance surrounds them. They move lightly, can fly, and can appear anywhere within their realm. Compared with the four great kings, the Tvetisa devas possess stronger halos, greater intelligence, and more refined enjoyments. Their lifespan extends to 1,000 celestial years, equivalent to about 36 million human years. This great length makes them almost forget the finitude of existence. They dwell in palaces of gold, silver, and precious gems, with gardens, lakes, and magnificent towers. When assemblies are held, the 33 gather at Sakka's palace to discuss, sing, and revel together. Yet toward life's end, as their merit runs thin, the light of their bodies grows dim and the flowers on their crowns wither. They know death is near and fear arises. Their food is not human fare, but subtle ambrosia, complete in flavor and appearing at a mere thought. They also enjoy music, dance, and garments and palaces that manifest naturally. Nevertheless, because this is still within the sense realm, they remain attached to the 5 sensual pleasures. Thus, despite their great merit, they have not escaped bondage. A distinctive feature of Tusita is the presence of Sakka. In many discourses, he is portrayed as a heavenly king with faith in the Buddha. He often came to hear the Dhamma, at times inviting the Buddha to teach the devas and praising him before the heavenly assembly. In the Sutta Nikaya, there is even a chapter titled Sakka Sutta, recording dialogues between the Buddha and Sakka. From these we see that although Sakka is a heavenly king with great merit, he still has limitations and needs to learn. He himself exhorts the devas to cultivate and not be heedless. The karma leading to Tusita is abundant giving, offerings, and great acts of merit, especially by those who live with compassion, protect, and help others. Those who share, care for the community, and bring benefit to many may be reborn there after death. But if they stop there, that merit brings only temporary happiness and does not guarantee liberation. The Buddha said that when their merit is exhausted, the devas of Tusita must fall like yellow leaves dropping from a branch. In many stories, the image of Tusita appears to highlight the value of karma and its results. The Buddha once told of a poor woman who, with a sincere heart, offered just a handful of rice to a mendicant. By that merit, after death, she was reborn in Tusita and enjoyed immense blessings. Conversely, there were wealthy people who were stingy and did no good. After death, they could not be reborn there. Thus we see that the merit leading to heavenly rebirth does not depend on wealth, but on genuine intention and action. Tusita is also tied to important events in the Buddha's life. After teaching the Dhamma to liberate his deceased mother, he ascended to the Tusita palace and spent the 3-month rains retreat there, teaching the devas, including Queen Maya. This event is recorded in many scriptures and, in popular tradition, is honored in the festivals later known as Pavarana or Ulambana Bulan. This shows that Tusita is not merely a place of enjoyment, but also a realm where the Buddha's teaching spreads to rescue beings over many lives. Yet the Buddha never failed to remind us. Although the devas of Tusita enjoy great merit, they are still within the round of birth and death. They too must die and be reborn. Hearing this, many monks practiced with even more energy, realizing that even Sakka, the king of gods with vast merit and power, cannot escape impermanence. How much more should humans strive, for our condition is far shorter and more fragile. In our present lives, looking into our minds, we can also recognize traces of Tusita. When we do good, give, make offerings, and help others, our hearts fill with joy and serenity. That is a touch of the devas merit manifesting here and now. But if we think that merely doing good to secure a heavenly rebirth is sufficient, we will remain circling within that loop. The Buddha taught that the ultimate aim is not heavenly birth, but transcending all realms and reaching Nibbāna. Thus, Tusita is both encouragement and reminder. It encourages us by showing that generosity and virtue can bring us to long-lasting happiness, prosperity, and joy. It reminds us that even there is not absolutely safe. Reflecting in this way, we learn to value merit while cultivating wisdom, not stopping at worldly blessings, but continuing on the path to final liberation. After Tusita comes the yama heaven, a special realm often mentioned in the Pali scriptures with images of radiant light and the absence of day and night. The word yama means moment or period. In the Buddhist tradition, it is understood as a heaven where light pervades and there is no darkness, no alternation of day and night as in the human world. Hence it is also called the heaven of perpetual day, for the devas there dwell in unclouded, pure radiance. The appearance of the yama devas is exceedingly resplendent. Their bodies shine, exuding pure beauty untouched by the dust of the world. Compared with the devas of Tusita, they are taller, their halo stronger, and their features nobler. They move lightly and freely. They do not need to walk, but appear wherever they wish by a mere thought. All palaces and gardens there are luminous. They need neither sun nor moon, for the light from their bodies and their realm suffices to illuminate everything. Lifespans in the yama heaven reach 2,000 celestial years, equivalent to 144 million human years. Such figures defy imagination. In a brief human life, a few decades already contain countless upheavals. Yet here the devas live so long that they almost forget impermanence. Still, according to the scriptures, when their merit runs out they must die and may fall to lower realms. So even such longevity is only provisional. The food of yama devas is subtle ambrosia that appears naturally when needed. They know no hunger or thirst like humans, do not labor to find sustenance, and do not compete. When they merely think of a flavor, ambrosia manifests, nourishing their clear and light bodies. They also enjoy music and dance, and heavenly blossoms whose radiance does not fade like earthly flowers. Everything expresses abundance and ease, yet it still belongs to sensual pleasure, for they remain fond of the refined fivefold delights and attached to beauty, sound, and taste. The karma leading to rebirth in yama is the pure practice of the 10 wholesome actions, abundant generosity, precept-keeping, compassion, and especially a life inclined toward gladness, cheerful, free of brooding and resentment. For this reason, this heaven is regarded as the realm of delight. Those who know how to nurture pure joy are born there. The Buddha said that those who live with rejoicing and equanimity, who praise goodness and encourage others to do merit, readily take rebirth in this heaven after death. The scriptures tell of Sakka visiting Yama with the devas to praise the Buddha, showing how revered the enlightened one is in that realm. Other passages describe Yama devas often coming to hear the Dhamma, supporting the 3 jewels, and returning in happiness. Thus, even while enjoying blessings, many devas there still plant wholesome ties with the Buddha's teaching and have opportunities to incline toward liberation. The most distinctive feature of Yama is the absence of day and night. In human life, day and night alternate, symbolizing impermanence and change. In this heaven, light shines perpetually. There is no dusk and no darkness. This keeps the devas' minds buoyant, unwearied by seasonal shifts. Yet this very lack of sunset has another implication. They easily forget decline and the fact that even light will one day go out, so they often become heedless and lax in practice. Though the light does not fade, impermanence still governs. When their merit is exhausted, Yama devas must die. In our present life, we can sense a reflection of Yama whenever our minds are filled with wholesome joy. When we cultivate true gladness, a compassionate smile, an open heart, an act of giving without expectation, our minds shine like the light of the Yama devas. But if we merely chase pleasure and forget suffering and impermanence, that joy is only worldly merit and cannot last. The Yama heaven teaches a great lesson. Joy is necessary, but it must be paired with wisdom. If we stop at cheerfulness and heedlessness, we will be like the devas there, enjoying long pleasures, yet ultimately returning to the round of rebirth. If we use joy as a means to nourish energy and diligence, it becomes a stepping stone toward liberating wisdom. The Buddha taught that when we see an innocent smile, remember its impermanence. When we see brilliant light, remember that it too will fade. This mindful seeing helps us avoid attachment and heedlessness, so that joy becomes a path to liberation rather than a chain that binds us to sasra. The next level after Yama is the tusita heaven. This is a special realm revered in both popular devotion and the scriptures because it is the abode where bodhisattvas dwell before descending to become Buddhas. Our Buddha, Sakyamuni, before his birth in the Lumbini Grove, resided in Tusita as Bodhisattva Sanasita, Homin. Thus Tusita has become a symbol of preparation for Buddhahood, a realm bound up with the hope and faith of those who practice the Bodhisattva path. The appearance of the devas in Tusita is exquisitely beautiful. Their bodies shine with light, their features are refined, and their garments are radiant yet elegant. Compared with the Yama devas, the radiance here is gentle and cool, bringing calm to anyone who beholds it. The palaces of this realm are of beryl, gold, silver, and precious gems, yet never gaudy. They emit a pure light, like the clarity of a serene mind. In Buddhist paintings, tusita is often depicted as a multi-storied palace with celestial flowers, music, and luxuriant gardens, symbols of abundance tempered by purity. The lifespan of tusita devas extends to 4,000 celestial years, equivalent to 576 million human years. Throughout that time, they enjoy the blessings resulting from wholesome deeds accumulated over many lives. Yet, like every other realm in the sense sphere, when their merit is exhausted, they too must die and be reborn, sometimes returning as humans, sometimes falling to lower states, depending on residual karma. Thus, however long the lifespan, tusita devas cannot escape impermanence. Their sustenance is subtle ambrosia that appears at will. They also enjoy music, floral fragrance, and natural radiance. Everything is refined and light, not coarse like in the lower realms. There is no hunger or thirst, no anxiety over livelihood, and no competition, for all necessities manifest abundantly. For this reason, tusita is often regarded as the most serene and harmonious of the 6 heavens of the sense sphere. The karma leading to rebirth in tusita is steadfast, expansive practice of the wholesome. Those who frequently give, make offerings, keep precepts, cultivate a broad compassion, and, especially, with wisdom and preliminary meditation practice will readily be reborn there. In many suttas, the Buddha says that those who protect the 3 jewels, have deep faith, and vow to practice the Bodhisattva path, are likely to be born in tusita. It is a gathering place for noble hearts, bodhisattvas preparing for great fulfillment in the future. Tusita is distinguished by 2 sections, the outer court and the inner court. The outer court is where ordinary tusita devas dwell and enjoy their merit. The inner court, tusita's inner sanctum, is a special abode for bodhisattvas. According to Buddhist tradition, the bodhisattva Maitreya now resides in the tusita inner court, awaiting the time to descend and become the next Buddha. Hence, many Buddhists aspire to be reborn in tusita to draw near Maitreya and continue practice under his guidance. The scriptures often portray tusita as a school for bodhisattvas. There, they do not only enjoy pleasures but also cultivate generosity, morality, patience, energy, meditation, and wisdom. They exchange counsel, encourage one another, and prepare for descent into the human world to realize Buddhahood. Thus, tusita is not merely a place of reward, but a nursery of wisdom and a cradle of great vows. One traditional story recounts that when Sakyamuni Buddha was about to descend to earth, the tusita devas praised his virtues and sent him forth to the human realm. This shows that tusita is not remote from us. Rather, it is intimately linked with our world. It is the place from which bodhisattvas depart to rescue beings, and the place to which they return after completing their mission. Nevertheless, the Buddha also reminded us that even tusita is still a heaven of the sense sphere, where desire and the round of birth and death persist. Though far more serene, when their merit is spent, the devas there must leave their palaces, their radiance fades, and they are reborn. Knowing this, practitioners should not merely wish to be born in tusita to enjoy blessings, but should take it as motivation to practice diligently and aim at ultimate liberation. In our present lives, when we do good, keep precepts, and nurture compassion and wisdom, we are sowing the causes for rebirth in tusita. But if we also cultivate mindfulness, meditation, and insight, we will not only be born in heaven, we can go further toward Nibbāna. Thus, tusita is both an admirable heaven and a gentle admonition. However great, merit is only a means, not the goal. Speaking of tusita stirs faith and hope, for there dwells Maitreya, the future Buddha of humanity. At the same time, it awakens mindfulness, for even their impermanence holds sway. With this understanding, we cherish blessings without stopping there, using them as a stepping stone toward final liberation, beyond the 31 planes, abiding in Nibbāna, the unborn, the unceasing. After tusita come the 2 highest heavens of the sense sphere, the Nibbāna heaven and the Paranimittavasavati heaven. These are realms of exceptional merit, where beings enjoy pleasures far more exquisite than those below. In the Pali Canon, These two are described as the pinnacle of sensual happiness and, at the same time, as the haunt of Mara, who constantly seeks to obstruct the path of practice. Thus, in studying these heavens, we see both the marvel of great merit and the danger of heedlessness and attachment. Nibbāna, delighting in creation, is so named because the devas there can conjure at will whatever delights they desire. They do not wait or seek. With a single thought, scenery, food, garments, music, gardens, and lakes appear instantly. This power of manifestation fills their lives with pleasure. Their appearance is radiant. Their features are lovely. Their bodies are light like clouds. Their garments sumptuous and mutable with the mind's intent. Compared with tusita, the abode of bodhisattvas, Nibbāna emphasizes enjoyment more than preparation for liberation. Lifespans there reach 8,000 celestial years, about 2.3 billion human years. During that time, the devas revel in delights of their own creation. Food is subtle ambrosia that appears at a thought with sublime flavor. Music, dance, palaces, and gardens all arise by mental conjuration without physical labor. This realm displays the mind's power to create worlds, while also exposing a grave risk. Because life is so effortless, devas there often become heedless, lacking motivation to practice, and they sink into sensuality until their merit is spent. Paranimitta, mastery over others' creations, is even more wondrous. The devas there need not create pleasures themselves. They enjoy what others have created, exercising power to command and partake of the manifestations of other beings. This sovereignty marks them as supreme within the sense sphere. Their appearance is yet more glorious, bodies tall and majestic, halos pervading the realm, features dignified. They dwell in vast palaces, surrounded by countless attendants, enjoying uninterrupted pleasures. Their lifespan is 16,000 celestial years, about 9.2 billion human years, an overwhelming span, yet still only a brief interval within the endless round. Significantly, the texts identify Paranimitta as Mara's domain, the base from which he appears to obstruct the Buddha and practitioners. Mara symbolizes sensual craving, temptation, pride, and procrastination. This underscores that even the summit of the sense sphere is not secure. Heedlessness and attachment still prevail. The karma leading to these two heavens is pure, abundant merit, especially generosity, morality, and vast compassion. Those who joyfully perform good works and bring happiness to others may be reborn in Nibbāna. Those who possess merit along with a disposition to command and lead, yet lack humility, are prone to rebirth in Paranimitta. However great their merit, these two heavens still belong to the sense sphere, which means attachment to the five sensual pleasures remains, and so does the round of birth and death. In many discourses, the Buddha told the bhikkhus that even the devas of the Paranimitta heaven, when their merit is exhausted, must fall to lower realms. Hearing this, many were shaken, for they realized that no realm among the 31 is secure. Only liberating wisdom offers absolute safety. In our present lives, when we fantasize about pleasures we create for ourselves, that is the shadow of the Nibbāna heaven. When we enjoy what others have created, that is the shadow of the Paranimitta heaven. Yet both are impermanent. A material comfort, a modern convenience, an aesthetic delight, all will fade. If we cling, we will be like the devas there, rejoicing now, suffering next. If we use joy as a means to nourish compassion and develop wisdom, that very merit becomes a foundation for liberation. Thus, the two heavens of Nibbāna and Paranimitta show us that even at the summit of the sense sphere, where bliss is most exquisite, impermanence and danger persist. We may revere great merit, yet we must remain alert. Do not let merit become a snare. Do not let pleasure become a chain. The Buddha taught that the wise, when hearing of these realms, arouse energy, do not stop at worldly merit, and turn toward Nibbāna, where there is no birth and death, no heedlessness, and no dominion of Mara. Beyond the 6 sensual heavens, where beings are still caught in the 5 senses, we enter a wholly different domain, the heavens of the form realm. Here beings are no longer bound by coarse, sensual craving, but abide in the joy and strength of meditative absorption. The form realm is divided into 16 planes corresponding to the 4 levels of Janna: first, second, third, and fourth. In this section, we will speak of the first 3 heavens of the form realm, which belong to the first Janna. In the Pali Canon, the first Janna is described as a mental state withdrawn from sensuality and unwholesome states, yet still accompanied by applied and sustained thought, vitakka. Even so, the mind is unified and suffused with rapture and pleasure. One who cultivates concentration to this degree, upon the breakup of the body, is reborn in one of the 3 first Janna heavens. These 3 are the Brahma's retinue, the Brahma's ministers, and the great Brahma. The heaven of Brahma's retinue, Brahma Parasaja, is the lowest of the first Janna planes. It is the gathering place of the retinue of Brahma, those reborn here through attainment of the first Janna, but with comparatively modest merit. The devas here shine with purity. Their forms are radiant and refined, no longer coarse like humans, yet still somewhat familiar in outline. They abide in the bliss of absorption, free from sensual desire and conflict. Their lifespan lasts for 1/3 of a world cycle. Compared with the sense sphere, this is vast, yet in the endless round it is but a grain of sand. The heaven of Brahma's ministers, Brahma Purohita, is the second plane of the first Janna. Those here are the attendants and ministers of Brahma, endowed with greater merit and stronger concentration than those below. Their appearance is more resplendent, their radiance more powerful, and their rapture more pure. Their lifespan lasts for half a world cycle. Palaces here are not of gold and silver as in the sense sphere, but of the pure light that arises naturally from a settled mind. The heaven of the great Brahma, Mahabrahma, is the highest of the first Janna planes. It is the abode of the great Brahma, who in the Brahmaical tradition is often taken to be the creator god. In Buddhism, however, the Buddha explained that the great Brahma is simply a being reborn there through mastery of the first Janna and extraordinary merit. Because his lifespan spans a full world cycle, and because, upon arising there, he sees himself as existing first while other beings appear later, he mistakenly believes himself to be the creator of all. The Buddha repeatedly dispelled this wrong view, affirming that even the great Brahma is impermanent, born and dying under the sway of karma, and cannot escape sasra. The great Brahma's appearance is said to blaze like the sun, majestic and awe-inspiring, so that other devas revere him. Yet inwardly he is still an ordinary being, not an awakened one. The Buddha once recounted a dialogue with the great Brahma in which he affirmed that the Buddha's knowledge far surpasses Brahma's, while Brahma knows only what lies within the bounds of his own realm. This shows that however great one's merit and concentration, without liberating wisdom, one has not gone beyond birth and death. The food of first Janna devas is no longer ambrosia or any material substance, but the joy of absorption itself. They feed on inward happiness, on abiding in samadhi. That very concentration sustains their subtle bodies, so nothing else is required. This reflects the truth that the highest nourishment is not material, but the stillness of the mind. The karma leading to these 3 first Janna heavens is the cultivation of concentration to the point of attaining the first Janna with a mind withdrawn from sensuality. Those who merely keep precepts and do good are reborn in the sense sphere. Those who dabble in meditation without depth and joy only ease in this life. Only by truly attaining the first Janna, abandoning coarse sensuality, can one be reborn in the Brahma worlds. This boundary is crucial. It marks the crossing beyond crude desire into a subtler, more spiritual mode of life. In the scriptures, the Buddha often noted that certain Brahmas and ascetics, through meditation, were reborn in the Brahma worlds and took that to be final liberation. But the Buddha made clear that this is only a temporary happiness with limited merit. When the power of concentration wanes, one must fall again. Therefore he instructed his disciples, take meditation as a base, but develop wisdom. See impermanence, suffering, and non-self, and only then will you truly transcend. If we look at our present lives, we too can taste, in a small way, the flavor of the first Janna. That is when the mind turns away from sensual desire and abides in mindfulness, in the breath, in one-pointedness. At such times we feel a pure happiness that does not depend on material things, on sounds or forms. This joy is light and steady, helping us realize that happiness need not come from outside, but from the mind's own stillness. That is the presence, within us, of a Brahma world's fragrance. Thus, the three first jhana realms, Brahma's retinue, Brahma's ministers, and the great Brahma, show a great advance of consciousness. Yet they also remind us that, however abundant the merit and however sublime the meditative rapture, without insight wisdom they are only temporary way stations, not the final goal. The Buddha taught practitioners to go further to the second, third, and fourth jhanas, and, most importantly, to develop liberating wisdom. After the three first jhana heavens, we come to the realms of the second and third jhanas within the form sphere. In these heavens, beings have progressed further along the meditative path. The mind no longer has applied and sustained thought. There is no discursive activity at all, only pure rapture and unification. If the first jhana is the initial step away from sensuality, then the second and third jhanas are a deepening inward, where joy becomes subtler, purer, and more enduring. The second jhana heavens comprise three tiers: the realm of limited light, the realm of infinite light, and the realm of radiant glory. Their common hallmark is light. Beings here not only shine of themselves, their entire environment is suffused with brilliant radiance. When a meditator realizes the second jhana, the mind becomes steady and filled with joy. It no longer needs discursive thought to sustain absorption, but rests naturally. Therefore, at death such a person is reborn in one of these three tiers according to the refinement of their practice. In the realm of limited light, the Deva's halos shine, but not yet without limit. Their forms are radiant and translucent, their features serene, and their lifespan extends for 2 world cycles. In the realm of infinite light, their radiance spreads powerfully, illuminating boundless space. Their lifespan reaches 4 world cycles. In the realm of radiant glory, beings emit light that both illumines and seems to hum like a subtle, wondrous tone. Their lifespan extends to 8 world cycles. This stratum represents the marvelous purity of the second jhana mind, where joy has become supremely tranquil. The third jhana heavens also comprise 3 tiers: the realm of limited purity, the realm of infinite purity, and the realm of universal purity. If light characterizes the second jhana, purity characterizes the third. The minds of third jhana devas abide in equanimity, yet still with joy, unshaken by anything. Hence their realms are clear as crystal, their bodies are immaculate. A gentle radiance of ease pervades. In the realm of limited purity, purity is evident but not yet all-pervasive. The lifespan is 16 world cycles. In the realm of infinite purity, purity spreads without limit. The lifespan is 32 world cycles. In the realm of universal purity, purity covers everywhere, with not the slightest stain remaining. The lifespan is 64 world cycles. Here, cleanliness of being is the defining mark, reflecting the mind state of one established in the third jhana. The appearance of devas in the second and third jhanas surpasses that of the first jhana. Their bodies are brilliantly luminous and transparent, bearing no trace at all of sensual desire. They have no need for material food. They live on rapture and concentration. They require no music, dance, or outer scenery, for the joy within suffices. This makes their lives peaceful, light, and scarcely disturbed. The karmic causes leading to rebirth in the second and third jhana heavens are deep meditative cultivation. Those who attain the second jhana, with pure rapture of mind, are reborn in the light heavens. Those who attain the third jhana, with limpid purity, are reborn in the purity heavens. These are direct fruits of concentration. The Buddha explained that only those who have realized jhana can be reborn there. Those who merely give and keep precepts reach only the sense sphere. Even so, the Buddha also reminded us that, however blissful and however long the lifespans, tens or hundreds of world cycles, the second and third jhana devas are still impermanent. When their concentration wanes and wholesome karma is exhausted, they must depart that realm, sometimes to human birth, sometimes to lower states if unwholesome karma remains. For this reason, the Buddha called these realms temporary happiness, not the ultimate goal. In our present lives, we may taste a little of the second and third jhanas flavor when the mind settles deeply in mindfulness. When we meditate and let go of all discursive thought so that only pure wakefulness remains and the heart fills with inner light. That is a faint shadow of the light heavens. When we go further, the mind no longer wavers and everything becomes clear and pure. That is a faint shadow of the purity heavens. But if we cling to that ease and assume it is sufficient, we stop midway and do not proceed to liberation. The lesson of the second and third jhanas is this: true happiness does not come from outside, but from inner stillness. Yet even that happiness is not the end. It is a rung, a means. If we use it to nourish wisdom, to contemplate impermanence, suffering, and non-self, then it becomes a stepping stone to liberation. If we stop to bask in meditative joy, we will be like the devas of the light and purity heavens, long at ease, but at last returning to the wheel of birth and death. Beyond the second and third jhana tiers, we advance to the highest regions of the form sphere, the heavens of the fourth jhana. Here beings abide in the absolute serenity of concentration, no longer with joy, but with pure equanimity and mindfulness. If the first jhana retains applied thought, the second strong rapture, and the third joy with equanimity, the fourth is the resting point. The mind is still, balanced, lucid, and unmoved by any feeling. For this reason, the 12 fourth jhana heavens are regarded as the summit of meditative peace in the form sphere, where life is so light and clear that ordinary words can hardly describe it. The first of the fourth jhana tiers is the realm of vast fruit. This is where practitioners who have attained the fourth jhana, but whose cultivation is not yet profound, are reborn. The devas' appearance exudes calm. Their faces are composed. Their bodies shine, but not in a glaring way, more like the gentle light of the moon. Their lifespan reaches 500 world cycles. Their food is the ease of absorption. Nothing else is needed. Next is the realm of unperceiving beings, where some have attained the non-percipient attainment, suspending mental perception for long periods. They live as if without cognition, with no feeling, abiding in a state of non-perception. Their lifespan extends for thousands of world cycles. Though this realm is peaceful, lacking wisdom, they cannot realize the goal, and when the power of attainment dissolves, they fall again. This shows that concentration without insight cannot bring liberation. Higher still are the realms of no affliction and no heat. Beings there abide in pure equanimity, without vexation or inner fever. Their appearance is softly luminous, their gaze gentle, their features radiating deep peace. Their lifespans span thousands of world cycles. They symbolize perfect balance, untouched by any disturbance. Most notable within the fourth jhana are the 5 pure abodes, Suddhavesa, where only non-returners, anagamans, are reborn. The realms of no affliction, no heat, lovely vision, clear appearance, and the supreme of form. These planes do not admit ordinary beings. They are reserved for noble ones who have cut off the 5 lower fetters. There, non-returners continue cultivating until they attain arahantship and in the round of rebirth. The pure abodes are thus the most pristine realms of the form sphere and a clear demonstration that only wisdom brings release, not concentration alone. The appearance of the devas of the pure abodes is exceedingly noble. Their bodies shine like crystal, their eyes are serene, and their faces radiate compassion and wisdom. They require no pleasures of any kind and are free from attachment, abiding only in stillness. Their lifespans extend for innumerable world cycles, virtually inconceivable. What is unique is that, when their lifespan ends, they are not reborn anywhere at all, for they have realized arahantship and enter Nibbāna. Thus the pure abodes are regarded as the place of final preparation for liberation. Besides the 5 pure abodes, the fourth jhana sphere includes planes such as the vast fruit realm, the non-percipient realm, and the radiant purity realms. Each plane reflects a different subtle degree of concentration, yet they all share one feature. They have gone beyond sensual desire and abide in pure equanimity and mindfulness. Lifespans in these planes span tens, hundreds, even thousands of world cycles, durations beyond our imagination. Yet in the perspective of the Dhamma, they are but moments within the endless round of sasra. It is worth noting that fourth jhana devis no longer indulge in sensual pleasures as do the heavens of the sense sphere. They need no music, no splendid garments, no palaces. Their happiness comes from the stillness of the mind itself. This is a profound lesson. Lasting happiness is not found in the accumulation of material things, but in the stopping of the mind, in abiding in quiet. Even so, the Buddha repeatedly reminded us that, however exalted, the fourth jhana heavens still lie within the round of birth and death. When their concentration wanes, devis there must leave those planes unless they have attained noble realization. Hence he urged his disciples, do not stop at the ease of meditation. Use it as a means to develop insight, seeing impermanence, suffering, and non-self. Only thus will you escape sasra. In our present lives, we too may taste a faint flavor of the fourth jhana when the mind is utterly balanced, no longer shaken, no longer swinging between elation and sorrow, leaving only clarity and stillness. This is when our mindfulness is deep, when we see things come and go without clinging. Such a state helps us understand that true happiness does not come from adding more, but from letting go. Thus, the fourth jhana heavens show us the summit of meditative ease within the form sphere. At the same time, they remind us that if we stop there, we have not left the round of rebirth. The fourth jhana is vital preparation, a rung on the ladder to liberating wisdom. And it is precisely here that non-returners in the pure abodes complete the final steps to Nibbāna. Having passed beyond the 16 planes of the form sphere, where beings still possess extremely subtle form, we arrive at a higher domain, the formless sphere, where there is no body, no shape, only pure consciousness abiding. In the Pali Canon, the four formless planes are called the base of infinite space, the base of infinite consciousness, the base of nothingness, and the base of neither perception nor non-perception. Beings are reborn there through mastery of the four immaterial attainments. They no longer depend on a material body, but live by abiding in exquisitely subtle concentration. The first is the base of infinite space. This is the realm of meditators who, in practice, have gone beyond form, recognized boundless space as all-pervading, and abided therein. Beings here no longer perceive objects. They experience only limitless openness, the mind merging with space. There is no outward form since there is no material body, only mind resting in the infinite. Lifespans here extend for 20,000 world cycles, astonishing to us, yet still a mere speck in the endless round. Higher is the base of infinite consciousness. Here beings move beyond mere space and realize that consciousness itself is vast without limit, spreading everywhere. They abide in the felt experience of consciousness without boundary, no longer distinguishing body or environment. This is a subtler level, where sheer awareness extends infinitely. Lifespans span 40,000 world cycles. The third is the base of nothingness. In this realm the mind sees nothing to grasp, resting in the perception that there is nothing. Those who attain this absorption are reborn here, living in an absolute sense of emptiness. The mind does not take this or that as its object. It abides in the notion of no thing. The ease here is so subtle as to defy expression, for it lies beyond all objects. Lifespans extend for 60,000 world cycles. The highest of the formless planes is the base of neither perception nor non-perception. This is an extremely refined domain in which the mind is not clearly perceiving, yet not wholly devoid of perception. One abides in a state so subtle that awareness seems almost absent, yet a gossamer thread remains, hence the name. Beings here dwell in a near immobility of mind. Lifespans stretch to 80,000 world cycles. Compared with other planes, the formless sphere is wondrous indeed, for there is no form, no attachment to material phenomena, only refined consciousness. Yet the Buddha taught that even here, in the highest plane, beings do not escape impermanence. When concentration fades and wholesome karma is spent, they must fall, perhaps to the form sphere, perhaps to the sense sphere, and if unwholesome karma persists, even to the lower realms. Thus, despite inconceivably long lifespans and immeasurably subtle ease, the formless sphere is still only a stop along Sasriya's way. This carries a deep meaning. The formless attainments reveal the mind's marvelous capacity. When trained, it can transcend form, surpass all objects, and attain an ineffable stillness. At the same time, they remind us that concentration without insight cannot liberate. If we merely abide in the immaterial absorptions, we may be reborn in the formless planes and live for vast eons. Yet in the end we return to the wheel. Only by cultivating wisdom, contemplating impermanence, suffering, and non-self, do we go beyond all of it. In daily life, few can touch even a trace of the formless absorptions. Yet sometimes, in deep meditation, when we let go of every object and only boundlessness remains, we may taste a hint of infinite space. When the mind becomes empty, clinging to nothing, that is the shadow of nothingness. When we hover in the interval between is and is not, that is the shadow of neither perception nor non-perception. These experiences show that happiness need not come from the material world, but can arise from inner purity. At the same time, they warn us not to stop there, for the goal is not temporary ease, but final release. Thus, the formless sphere is both a testament to the mind's extraordinary power and a caution about the limits of concentration. One who reaches the immaterial absorptions without insight is like a climber who has ascended a high peak but remains trapped, unable to pass beyond the sky. Only with wisdom that sees even these refined states as impermanent can one truly let go, truly go beyond the 31 planes and enter Nibbāna. Hearing of the formless planes, we feel both admiration and alertness. Admiration for the mind's supernormal potential when trained, and alertness because without wisdom, even the highest realm is only another turn of the wheel. The final lesson of the formless sphere is this: concentration is necessary, but it must be paired with wisdom. Subtle bliss is valuable, but it must be joined with letting go. Only Nibbāna is the safe destination, beyond the conditioned, beyond every realm. Having traveled a full circle from the depths of hell, the hunger of the ghosts, the ignorance of animals, and the belligerence of asuras to the fragility of human life, then through the 6 sensual heavens of delights, the 16 form heavens of meditative abiding, and the 4 formless heavens where only mind remains, we begin to see the panoramic picture the Buddha sketched for beings. Those 31 planes are not distant abstractions, but a detailed map of Sasra, a mirror reflecting each of our minds. First, see clearly this: all realms, whether of utmost suffering or of sublime bliss, share one feature: impermanence. Hell may last tens or hundreds of great eons, but it ends. The formless heavens may extend to 80,000 world cycles, but they too end. Nowhere among the 31 planes is there permanence. As the Buddha said, even the devas, when their merit is spent, must leave their palaces. Their radiance fades, their beauty withers, and they are reborn elsewhere. This shows that no realm is a permanent harbor. All are only way stations on the endless journey of Sasra. Second, rebirth into each realm is entirely determined by karma. Heavy evil karma leads to hell, greed and stinginess to the realm of hungry ghosts, ignorance and delusion to animal birth, anger and jealousy to the asuras. Keeping the 5 precepts, doing good, giving, and planting wholesome causes lead to human rebirth. Great merit brings the sensual heavens. Concentration leads to the form and formless realms. All of this is just and impartial, neither reward nor punishment from another. We ourselves create our karma, and we ourselves inherit its results. This is the core of Buddhist causality. One is the owner of one's actions, the heir to one's actions, and the sole refuge for oneself. Third, though small and short-lived, the human realm is the most favorable environment for liberation. Devas live long and enjoy pleasures, but are often heedless and have little motivation to practice. Beings in hell, among hungry ghosts, or as animals suffer and are deluded, lacking the conditions to do good. Only humans both know suffering and possess the capacity to reason, to hear the Dhamma, to keep precepts, and to practice, thus truly able to reach release. The Buddha often emphasized, human birth is hard to obtain, and encountering the Dhamma is harder still. Like a blind turtle in the great ocean that surfaces once every 100 years and happens to slip its head through a yoke drifting on the waves. Such a chance is easier than regaining human birth. Understanding this, we cherish every breath and every day in this body. Fourth, the cosmology of 31 realms is not for idle fancy, but a mirror for the mind. When anger blazes, our heart is a present hell. When greed craves without limit, the hungry ghost lives in this very body. When we act blindly by sheer impulse, that is the animal within daily life. When we envy and contend without knowing enough, the asura is in our mind. When we keep precepts and live kindly, we plant the causes for a stable human realm. When we cultivate meditation and master the mind, we plant the causes for the form and formless realms. Thus, the 31 planes are not far away. They manifest in our thoughts from moment to moment. Fifth, the Buddha's ultimate aim is not rebirth in any realm among the 31, not even the highest. All of them belong to sasara, which means they contain suffering and impermanence. Only Nibbāna is the final refuge. Nibbāna is not a new realm, but the complete ending of greed, hatred, and delusion, the cessation of the turning of birth and death. The Buddha did not teach us merely to make merit for heavenly rebirth. He urged us to use merit as a foundation and then take a further step, develop wisdom, contemplate impermanence, suffering, and non-self, and thus arrive at Nibbāna. Placed in today's world of constant upheaval, Buddhist cosmology gains even more relevance. It reminds us that material happiness is brief and sense pleasures are fleeting. If we chase desire, we will repeat the cycle from realm to realm without end. Only by practicing, keeping precepts, doing good, cultivating mindfulness and wisdom, do we truly step out of bondage. Reflect, when we flare up, our heart is ablaze, no different from hell. When greed leaves us unsated no matter how much we consume, no different from hungry ghosts. When we live foolishly without discerning right and wrong, that is the animal state. When we struggle and refuse to let go, that is the asura. But when we open the heart, love, and give, we plant the causes for human and heavenly good. And when we sit down and breathe with mindfulness, the mind resting in stillness, we take a small step into the pure world of the form realms. In that very moment, the 31 planes can appear within a single thought of our mind. From here we see that studying the 31 realms is not to rate which places are beautiful or ugly, but to understand the nature of sasara. With understanding, we arouse wholesome fear of birth and death, arouse energy, and abandon heedlessness. With understanding, we treasure the human body and use it for practice. With understanding, we do not become complacent with merit, even heavenly merit, but always orient toward liberation. The Buddha taught, all things that arise dependent on conditions are impermanent, stressful, and not self. Whoever sees this with right wisdom grows disenchanted with birth and death, relinquishes sensuality, and inclines toward Nibbāna. This is the key to using the map of the 31 realms as a skillful means, not as a refuge, but as a reminder to go beyond the map altogether. Closing the panorama of Buddhist cosmology, we see the vastness of sasara and its countless realms, but all of it revolves around the three poisons of greed, hatred, and delusion, and the three medicines of virtue, concentration, and wisdom. If we nurture greed, hatred, and delusion, we will wander long among hells, hungry ghosts, animals, and asuras. If we keep precepts and do good, we will be born in the heavens. If we cultivate concentration, we will ascend to the form and formless realms. But if we unite virtue, concentration, and wisdom, then we will no longer be bound to any realm at all.